Hey y'all, welcome back to the garden. So it's time for our weekly tomato experiment update. And this week I am very blessed to have a special guest in my garden. It's my mom. She was stopping by dropping off some more plants. So I thought I would kind of coerce her into doing a video with me this week. So she's going to help me with this week's update. So, Mom, now that I have you here, I know you've gardened for many years, many seasons. In your own personal garden, what do you do? Do you prune your tomatoes or do you not prune your tomatoes?
I prune my tomatoes.
Okay, why do you prune your tomatoes?
I learned this from my dad. He learned it from an old farmer. You prune your tomatoes, you get your suckers out. You have nicer tomatoes.
Okay.
Your plant's a little more manageable too.
Mm-hmm.
I've always done it. I always was satisfied with my yield of my tomatoes.
Okay. Have you ever left some unpruned just to kind of see the difference, or you were always taught to prune them and then that's just what you did?
No, I've always pruned, and sometimes it gets out of control. If I get to, I don't have the time to go, and I
Mm-hmm.
can tell I should have, but
So when you do prune, like, do you stop at a certain part of the pruning, or how do you know where to stop
when you
pruning?
start pruning your tomatoes plants, you prune up to your first tomato flowers.
Okay. Your first
Up
set
to
of flowers.
first set of flowers,
Okay.
you prune all the leaves on the bottom. They're just there, they'll touch the ground, and then a lot of times that's how the diseases get into them
Mm-hmm.
because your leaves are touching the ground. And then after that, I just prune the suckers that are coming out in between um, your leaves and your
So in
stem.
between the main stem and that little side shoot, that little
Yes,
piece that comes
yes,
up, that's the suckers.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. But if you leave the suckers on, that makes more tomatoes though,
It
right?
makes more tomatoes because you have flowers that'll come out on that. But like I say, you have a nicer sized tomatoes when you prune.
Okay. So like on the very bottom of the tomato plant, you said like they'll have that stem that comes off and they'll make tomatoes there. After the tomatoes have bloomed and you've picked them, do you pull that stem off? Like do you continue to prune as
No,
the
no.
plant you just leave it?
The only thing I prune is the suckers.
Okay.
And then sometimes if the leaves are gonna want to get real long, and I'll just cut them so they don't touch the ground.
Okay. Cool. Well, some good little insight there.
And you don't want to prune everything because your leaves protects your tomatoes from the sun.
Right, and also that's how the plant photosynthesizes with the sunlight getting onto
Yeah,
the leaves itself.
yeah.
Okay, good deal. All right, so quick little lesson for everyone watching. So we're going to go ahead and get closer, and we'll do our weekly updates to measure how tall our plants are getting, how many flower sets that I've seen, how many tomatoes that I've seen, and I missed this part last time on the last weekly update, but I'm going to go ahead and just take an overall view of the health of the plant to see if there's any diseases or any serious pest issues that I need to be aware of. So like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and pull you guys closer and we'll do our weekly updates. All right, so here we have the unpruned tomato plant. We'll go ahead and get how tall it's getting to be. All right, I'm all the way down to the ground. Oops. Okay, so my tallest one looks like back there. Okay, and it's about 36, 37 inches tall. Okay, now again, like last week, I went ahead and I pre-counted all of my flower sets and tomatoes that I have. And for this one, we have 30 plus flower sets. Again, I kind of stopped at 30. And I estimated that I have about 88 tomatoes in the plant. And then let's go ahead and see the size of the tomatoes. I don't know if you can kind of see, they're a decent size in there. I'm pretty pleased with the amount of tomatoes that we have. And then checking the overall health of the plant, I do have some leaf miner issues in my plant, but down here, I really don't see any diseased issues. I do have some yellowing of some of my leaves, but like my mom mentioned off camera, that's really just because it's touching the ground, right, Mom?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
That's why you trim off the bottom leaves.
Gotcha. Okay, so overall, I'm pretty pleased with my unpruned plant. Let's go on to the pruned one now. Just ease that down in there. All right. And so this one, so about 35 inches tall. So she's catching up to the unpruned plant, which is good to know. But still, overall, she's not quite as bushy. She's kind of staying close to the stake that I have in here. And let me get my totals. So for my pruned one, I counted about 15 flower sets, and I have about 40 tomatoes. But I've noticed that these are actually a larger tomato. You kind of see that they're a little bit bigger than the ones on the unpruned plant. So, and that's what my mom and I were saying was that oh, I'm sorry. We need to check the overall. But that's what we were saying, that when you do prune them, you do tend to have a larger tomato. So underneath, checking the overall health, everything looks really good under here. I'm really pleased with it. I think we're both gonna, that both of these plants are gonna do well this season. Um, so I don't know. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this experiment, and I can't wait to see, how much bigger these get, when it comes time to harvesting the tomatoes. So that's about it for this week. Thanks again to my mom for stopping by and helping me out with
You're
my
welcome.
video this week. And thank you guys for watching. Happy gardening.